Cooper Flagg looked great. And you love to see his family and all of Maine supporting this kid. This kid is going to be a sensational, generational type of player. He is special. There's no question that he is. And he's very confident because even before the draft and when the draft started, he was really upset that Dallas waited 5 minutes to make their pick. He already knew he was going to sign with the Mavericks. As a matter of fact,
he said, "What's taking so long?"
Yeah, he said, "What is taking so long?" Because he knew he was going number one. Everybody and their mother knew he was going number one. He was negotiating contracts with the Mavericks before he was even drafted. So he was kind of making jokes like, "What's taking so long?" He gets drafted by the Mavericks, and then just his personality going up there when they interviewed him, saying that Coach Kidd is going to give me an opportunity to be myself, be a leader on this team, and come out through the floodgates and play the game that I want to play as an NBA player. And you love to hear that with Cooper Flagg. I do believe the personality that he brings to the table, and he's so multi-talented. And they asked him during the draft when he was interviewing with some of the guys at the front, at the table, they asked him, what part of your game do you love the most? And he says all of it. I love my game when it comes to rebounding. I love my game when it comes to passing and being a leader on this team. And I even believe that my offense could get even better. And I do believe he absolutely believes this. And I'll tell you this also about Cooper Flagg that makes him so interesting. He didn't sit back and beat around the bush. He didn't say what Harper said. Dylan Harper went up there, and I'll get into Dylan Harper. He was kind of hesitant when he was interviewing, especially when he was picked by the Spurs. Nobody had any questions that these two guys were the best players in the draft. Now, Ace Bailey falling to 5, I was surprised. I think Ace Bailey, to me, you can argue that Ace Bailey could be the best player in this class. Now, we have to see how he develops. His personality is a very strong personality. He's taking shots at some of the NBA players over the last couple of weeks. As when, I forget her name, that was interviewing him, asked him, what do you think about this person saying that and getting a chance to play against Giannis? He says, we'll see. When I get on the court, I expect to beat him to the hoop every single time. So you see the confidence in Ace Bailey, and that's what you like to hear. You like guys that are going to go up there, and he's going to speak with confidence and go out there and play his game. Now, if he could do it in the NBA, I believe Ace Bailey could be as good of a player as Anthony Edwards. I think his game, and everybody keeps saying that VJ Edgecombe is an Anthony Edwards prototype. I don't think so. I think Ace Bailey is an Anthony Edwards prototype, an athletic, gifted kid who is not much of a defensive player. He can play defense, but his game is prototypically offensively built. The guy can shoot. He can go to the hole. He's so athletic, and he could do everything on the offensive side of the ball. But, again, his personality, is it going to work over there in Utah? Thank God he didn't go to the 76ers, okay? Because could you imagine him in Philadelphia with his personality, Joel Embiid? I don't think that will ever work. But the fact is, Dylan Harper is the guy that everybody is talking about in this class because some people believe that Dylan Harper, if Flagg wasn't in this class, was absolutely the number one pick. Some people believe that the Mavericks should have drafted Harper over Cooper Flagg. Now, I've watched Dylan Harper a couple of times this season. I watched him play for Rutgers. He plays in New Jersey. And by the way, what a recruiting class this past year Rutgers had. I mean, just think about it. The top 5 picks, 2 of the best players in this class come from Rutgers. And they weren't even in the Sweet 16. Nope. So just think about that. The two out of the top 5 best players in the nation played for a team that didn't even make it to the Sweet 16. But Ace Bailey, some people thought he was going to fall out of the top 10, which made absolutely no sense. But what I loved about Ace Bailey in this draft is I do believe his ability, his athletic ability, and the way he plays the offensive side of the ball, I think he's going to fit very, very well in the NBA. I think his offensive game fits more, especially out of all the top 5 players in this year's NBA draft. I think he is prototypically the best athletic, offensively gifted player in this class. Now, the question is he going to develop his shooting ability? That was something that they said he needs to work on. And he makes some acrobatic plays during the college season. Even some of his shots were so acrobatic. And they showed some of the videos when he was drafted. He is an incredible, gifted player. I wonder if his personality and his confidence is going to hurt him. It didn't hurt Anthony Edwards when he came into the league, and that's his confidence. He plays, and his attitude is just like Anthony Edwards. He does believe he's the best player in his class. Now, you got to go out there and prove it, as we all saw what Giannis did in that class. Giannis fell to 15 or 16. Some people thought if Giannis fell any further, he probably goes back to Greece, and maybe he never plays in the NBA. So this guy, Ace Bailey, we knew he was going to be a top 10 pick. We were unsure where he was going to be drafted. One, he didn't practice with any of the teams. He didn't work out with any of the teams. And there was a lot of questions that a lot of GMs were just iffy on even drafting him because they didn't think that his game would fit on any of the rosters in the top 7. So I disagree. I think the guy is as gifted as any offensive player we've seen in this class. Now, again, Cooper Flagg, with his whole type of game and the way he plays the game, he is the best player. Now, and he's a generational talent. The fact is, what we have seen in this year's class is we thought that this class was going to be one of these classes like the 2004-2005 class with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo Anthony. I don't know if this class is as good as that, but there are players in this class that can just surprise people. And we're going to go through the whip around, and that's the next segment. We're going to go into the whip around. We'll go through the draft, and we'll kind of give you our thoughts throughout the draft. But I do believe that the Wizards were the way they drafted and the way they set themselves up in this year's draft. I think they set themselves up very, very well. And I think everybody keeps talking about the Nets and what they got out of the draft, all these guards. The Nets really fell in a bad position. First of all, they were drafting at 8, and the Nets, their season was really up and down. They don't know who their GM's going to be in the next probably 3 or 4 years, because I don't think Sean Marks is going to be there much longer. He really hasn't developed any talent. Thomas is the only guy that they have over there that they have developed, and he's the only trade chip they really have on that roster. Ben Simmons, if I'm not mistaken, he's still there.
He might get waived, though, apparently. There are rumors.
And they're paying Ben Simmons $39.5 million for practically not even playing. And this is an organization that's in a shambles. They don't have James Harden anymore. They don't have Kyrie Irving. They don't have Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant gets traded to what? This is his 4th team he's been on in how many years?
5, 6, yeah.
It hasn't been good. But now Kevin Durant's still a great player. But again, I love what we're seeing, what the Phoenix Suns did in this year's class. And we're going to get into that in a whip around. But again, Cooper Flagg's going to be an amazing player. Dylan Harper is going to be a special player. What are the Spurs going to do with De'Aaron Fox? Mm-hmm. That's the question. How does this work? Do you move De'Aaron Fox to the 2? He's not big enough to play the 2. So do they trade De'Aaron Fox and try next year to get a draft pick? Or maybe get 2 or 3 draft picks for De'Aaron Fox and a player this coming season? Because as much as everybody keeps thinking that Wemby is going to be back in the beginning of the season, we don't know if Wemby's going to be back in the beginning of the season. He has blood clots. Now, everybody thinks and everybody believes that he will be back when it comes to camps and all that other stuff. They also have a rookie coach. So this isn't Greg Popovich anymore. You have a rookie coach. He's never been in a position like this. He's got some young talent there. But there's just a lot of questions with the Spurs. Again, Dylan Harper is a special player. Is he De'Aaron Fox? Is he better than De'Aaron Fox? Are they going to make the wrong choice? Because we all know Sacramento had at one point De'Aaron Fox and Haliburton. They decided to move Haliburton because they wanted to keep De'Aaron Fox. Haliburton became a star, and De'Aaron Fox is still a great player, but he's a seesaw type of player. Is he could you consider him a star, a superstar, or just a great player? That's the question with De'Aaron Fox. And what are the Spurs going to get for De'Aaron Fox, knowing that teams already know they're going to look to move him?
Look, I understand taking Knuppel in Charlotte. They like taking a bunch of white guys who can't play defense but can shoot the lights out. They're going to be terrible. They'll have more fun offense to watch, but they're going to be terrible again. Good for them. But I'm really curious at the Edgecombe pick. The Edgecombe pick for the Sixers over Ace Bailey is what's going to come back to the story we're going to talk about. I've seen a lot of guys like Edgecombe get drafted, never develop a shot, and then become nothing in the league. He doesn't have a shot. He's a 42% shooter in college from the field, 34 from three. That's below average from what you're looking for as a number 3 pick in the NBA draft. He's a super athlete like Anthony Edwards, but for as many guys that are super athletes, only a couple of them develop a shot like Anthony Edwards. That's good enough. And Edwards doesn't have the best shot, but it's much better than this. And they're taking the gamble that this guy is going to be the one, the super athlete that develops the shot, over the guy that can ball already. Mm-hmm. We see it. And he's tall. And he's going to get bigger and stronger. This is a bigger, stronger version of Paul George projecting. What are you doing? I mean, I love it because I hate that team and what they did, for years. I mean, it's great for me.
He is.
I
think he's Anthony Edwards. I really do. His gifts, his athletic ability.
He's by 6'9", lanky.
Dude, he is by far the most athletic player in this class. I don't think anybody is questioning his athleticism. He is great. Now, Dylan Harper played on the same roster, but Dylan Harper was the quote-unquote superstar of the roster. And the only reason why Ace Bailey didn't get all that glare and glory is because Ace Bailey, a lot of people believe, is a one-dimensional player. Now, he could play defense. He's a good defensive player, but he's not a great one. Dylan Harper is a two-way player. He's a great defender, and he's a great offensive player. But here's the problem. When you look at somebody like Ace Bailey can transition. You could put him at the one. He could dribble the ball. He could play the one. He could play the two. He could play the three. And he could even probably, as long as he is athletically gifted as he is, if you need him to, at some points play the four. So offensively, he is so gifted. And by the way, he could go left. He could go right. He's strong left as well as he is right. And he could shoot the ball, shoot the lights out of the ball.
It's madness, Errol.
Yeah, I didn't understand it.
The guy shoots like Carmelo did in college. Yep. And they let him go. And they decided to take a project on an offensive side, just a super athlete.
He would have never worked in Philadelphia. His personality, just think of what he was saying when he was interviewed. The first thing he brought up was the Giannis. Because he was on social media, and he was going back and forth with Giannis. Yeah. And Giannis and LeBron James, and I think Kevin Durant, I'm not sure if it was Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard, said that this guy is the best and most gifted athletic player in this year's class. All three of them said that. And by the way, some people are comparing his skills to Kawhi Leonard, too.
I saw that.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if he's the defensive player Kawhi Leonard is, but you're right. He's young, and that's the thing you don't realize. When you look at him, he's real skinny still. He hasn't grown into his body completely yet. He's still really young. You can't project defense. Look, as soon as he gets bigger and stronger, he's going to be able to get lower to the ground with his squats and his lunges. And guess what? He's going to be able to play better defense than he showed in college because he's going to be a better athlete because he's going to be able to do it full time. I am not worried about the defense. I just think, to me, the only reason he doesn't go 2 in this draft is because Dylan Harper is that good.